Good afternoon, everyone. So Mike told me I took a risk by trying to put Deepak and Paris on stage together, and how were we going to do this? So I'm looking forward to the next 30 minutes. And our goal today is to talk about storytelling. So social media today is just telling a story. It's telling a story that people have been doing this, as Deepak will get into, since the beginning of time. A good brand is a story. How we portray ourselves to our friends, to our colleagues, it's a story. So joining us here today, Deepak Chopra, a trained physician, alternative health and integrative medicine advocate, author, teacher, a towering figure in the New Age movement. You've just written and published your 90th book. You have empowered millions of people by sharing your pioneering methods of personal transformation. So talk to us, Deepak. How has storytelling changed over time, and how does social media impact how we tell our own personal stories?
To be human is to have a story. We are the only species on this planet that has a narrative for storytelling. Our raw experience is just 5 senses. So we see colors, shapes, sounds, we hear sounds, we taste, smell, and feel. And everything after that is a story. So humans have told stories since ever they came into existence. We were 9 species of humans. We are Homo sapiens. We call ourselves the wise ones, but there were other humans. They didn't have a story, so they didn't survive. We have a story. And our stories have gone from mythology to religion to theology to philosophy and to science and technology. The story keeps evolving. We are storytellers, and who you are is your story. You have a backstory, you have a present story, you have a story coming in the future. If you know your story, you can aspire to creativity, vision, insight, imagination, higher consciousness, and transcendence.
Okay, so Paris, if I were to ask you a similar question, what is your story? Where did it begin? And where is it now? How has it changed? But first, before you talk, I want to show a brief video that I think will share with us a little bit about your story. So you're the CEO of Paris Hilton Entertainment. In that role, you oversee product development, design, marketing, promotion, 19 product lines, $170 million worth of sales on sunglasses, $50 million worth of sales on pet products, $3 billion worth of sales in perfume, a DJ, a model, an actress. I mean, the list goes on. And when I think of your story and the story that I knew of you and the story that I see of you now, what is your story, Paris?
Well, I think that the story was basically told up there, but also I think the world was introduced to me, I was introduced to the world through The Simple Life, where I was playing this character of kind of this ditzy blonde, and I think a lot of people assumed that who I was in real life.
Yeah.
But actuality in real life, I've always had this business drive of wanting to be an entrepreneur and a businesswoman, and I knew I could use that platform to build a brand. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And it's so exciting because I really love success is something that really drives me in life. I come from a very like-minded business family, so I think it definitely runs in my blood and my DNA to be a businesswoman and to create what I've created.
And so who you are on social media, is that different than who you are in reality?
I think with social media, everybody is projecting something. And with my social media, I like it to be fun. I like to project that life. But I also use it as a tool for all my businesses. So I think it's an amazing platform if it's used in the right way. So I think it drives sales. It also lets people into my life and just see the exciting life that I live. And I just feel like the luckiest girl in the world.
So Deepak, you want us to deepen our engagement with our perceived reality so that we can tell an authentic story. So in this narcissistic culture that we've created, many might say we're more connected, but yet we might be more lonely than ever. And so key to curing this is our engagement with our friends, with our family, with people around us. So does social media count as engagement?
Yes, social media counts as engagement, but you have to be clear what the goal is, what the vision is with that social media. So I do actually only one Facebook post a day, but that gets edited into Instagram and other social media, Twitter, YouTube, etc. And I start with just 4 intentions. How can I create the experience of a joyful, energetic body, which I experience, a loving, compassionate heart, a reflective, alert mind, and lightness of being. And how does that translate into healing, both the body, mind, but also our society? So yes, I'm very selective, and I'm very thoughtful about social media, and I think social media is the way people engage these days. They don't go to advertisers, they don't go anywhere else, they function within their ecosystem. So Paris has an ecosystem, 70 million or more.
11.6 million on Instagram, right?
Okay,
All
there you
together,
are. So
over
that's
60
her
million.
ecosystem, and that represents her iconic archetype, which in Greek mythology would be Aphrodite, the embodiment of beauty and love and sensuality. And she's captured that archetype in her persona, but also captured how she wants to project it to the world. And that's the secret of success in any field. The success is the progressive realization of worthy goals, but it's also the capacity to love and have compassion. But most importantly, it is to be intimate with your higher calling or archetype, and she's tapped into that.
So do you feel, like
Well,
what
first of all, I
Deepak
want to
said,
say
do you feel like you're
thank you
engaging?
for that compliment to be called Aphrodite by Deepak Chopra, one of the biggest legends in the world. Thank you very much.
So Paris, do you feel that you're directly engaging with the 60 million plus people that watch your life?
Definitely. I love with these platforms, you could reach people from all around the world, and I have such a close relationship with my fan base, and I consider them all like my little brothers and sisters, and they call themselves the Little Hiltons. And it's amazing that I can travel all around the world, and I fly them in, they come hang out with me, I've had them stay at my house. So I have this very close relationship with them, and I love that I can not only share my life, but also my business, and also give them advice. So I think just using that platform in a positive way is such a powerful tool.
How many hours a day do you spend on social media?
Well, it depends on the day. I'm constantly working, but anytime I'm, in a car or driving somewhere and I have a little time off, I'm on there. So sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 8. It just depends on the day.
Okay, so let's take a turn in a different direction. What you just touched upon a minute ago maybe is interesting to explore, the archetype and Aphrodite, who we're on stage with, it appears. So if being a woman in today's world, Paris has been a symbol of beauty, party, fun. How do you align yourself with the person you should be? How do your characteristics change over time? How, as a woman, do you grow and morph into kind of the next iteration of yourself? If you say your life is a story, is this a constant evolution?
Yes, it's a constant evolution, but if you want to tap into archetypes, all you have to do is read the literature of your spiritual tradition, whatever the tradition is. So if you look at the Old Testament, you find characters like Moses, Aaron, Jacob, but you also find Rebecca, you find Sarah. All these characters in spiritual and religious backgrounds, they represent an archetype, which means a higher consciousness. They are symbolic expressions of an expanded consciousness. With our minds, we cannot conceive the infinite. The infinite is impossible to conceive. God, for example, is impossible to conceive intellectually. As soon as you conceive something, you limit it. If something is infinite, it cannot be conceived. So it's captured in these archetypes. And the feminine archetypes are, I mentioned Aphrodite, but there's Hera, who's a leader, the embodiment of leadership. There's Demeter, who's the embodiment of motherhood and nurturing. There's Artemis, connecting with nature. There's Aphrodite, beauty, love, sensuality. There's Athena, the caretaker of art, culture, science, music, poetry. And there's Persephone, the alchemist, the healer. And finally, there's Hestia, the homemaker. These are the dominant feminine, divine feminine themes, archetypes, motifs. In every religion, you'll find them, the equivalent of them. Whether you read the Old Testament, you read Eastern mystical literature, you'll find these. And as a kid, you can relate to them. I'm sure you related to beauty and love and sensuality as the basic themes, and then you created a story. That's basically the secret to any success, to have a symbolic representation in your consciousness of a higher calling, and then fall passionately in love with the theme, the motif, the story. The story has context, it has meaning, it has relationship, but ultimately, all good stories are love stories. If it's not a love story, it's not a good story.
Okay, well, so Paris, how has your story changed over time? I guess from the world that you were born into. I mean, one might say the archetype that you would imagine, or the type of life that you were born into, predetermined construct of how you could have lived. You could have been an heiress. You could have not worked hard. Like, what motivated you from the time that you were young? What were your dreams and ambitions, and are they still the same?
I feel that just growing up in my family, it was obviously a lot to live up to, and I always wanted to make my family proud. And I didn't want to be known as just the Hilton Hotel granddaughter. I wanted to be known as Paris. And since I was a little girl, I had these huge dreams and aspirations, and I just wanted to work hard and be an independent woman and build a huge brand and a business. And I just feel that, with the Hilton Hotels, those are real estate properties. As me, I feel like I'm a human brand, a meta-human, as you would say. And so, as I said, success drives me. I love what I do. I love to make people happy. I love spreading love, joy, making beautiful products for people to enjoy, and just living every day, like living it to the fullest. Because life is so beautiful, and when you really appreciate it and you're grateful for everything, and you have a good heart, I feel that good karma will come to you. And that's why I feel that I've been in this business for so long, because I'm so genuine with my heart and the way I treat people and the way I feel inside. And that's why I think I've been in this industry for so long and have been so successful.
So, people can watch your life on social media. I mean, there are people who are jealous, and mental health experts tell us that leading a life of comparison can lead to really unhealthy consequences. The suicide rate in the United States amongst our youth has been increasing year after year for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. So what does that tell us? How do people sit at home and watch a life like this? How are the feelings of isolation increasing? And is there a way to use social media to empower yourself or to feel better about yourself if you're not able to live the way that Paris lives, Deepak?
Yes, so suicide is the second most common cause of death between the ages of 10 and 30, which is a huge travesty to our humanity, that our young children are depressed, feeling isolated and lonely. We have a campaign at our foundation called I Am Never Alone. If you want to check it out, neveralone.love. And this creates online and offline experiences for people who feel isolated and lonely, and encourages them to experience compassion, empathy, love, forgiveness, joy, equanimity, peace, and ultimately conquest of all fear. And that is a good way to use social media. She does her social media with a business angle, but she has a theme. And that theme is playfulness and love and sensuality. And without that, our life is boring and bereft. It's actually spiritually bereft as well. So when you combine this playfulness and joy and relationship and the experience of our sensual experience of humanity, which is, basically raw experience, right? This experience, you walk out of here, if you're totally present, it's like a beautiful carnival. Look at the smells, the textures, the shapes, the colors, the feelings, if you're present. And if you're not present and only thinking about the future, when the future arrives, you won't be present for it anyway. So what's the point?
So Deepak, I think it's fair to say we probably have a few alphas in this room, workaholics. I mean, you told me that when you find the right job, you will find you have endless amounts of energy to work, which perhaps explains Mike Milken. But you also say that you don't believe in hard work, which is confusing and complicated. So what does this mean? And then this element of playfulness, like how do you weave that together for us?
So I think this sounds paradoxical, but yes, I don't believe in hard work, driving ambition, exacting plans, and everything that people talk about as the means to success, because I think they are the last refuge of the failure. If you are totally intimate with your inner self, then it unfolds as a beautiful story. So if you ask yourself, who am I? Why do I want to know who I am? What do I really want in my life? At the end of my life, will I be showing off that I made $1 trillion? Or would I have changed the world and given them a better experience? My family, my friends, my community, my world. So what do I really want? What's my purpose? What gives me relevance? Is my identity just money? Or is it my calling? And what am I grateful for? If you ask these questions, you don't need to know the answers. If you live these questions, life moves you into the answers. And then you realize that the infinite had bigger plans for you than you had for yourself. And that's when you surrender to the wisdom of uncertainty, unpredictability, curiosity, wonder, imagination, sensation, feeling, relationship, then success follows automatically. And with ease. Because if you're not having a good time, what's the point?
Well,
if I asked you just one question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much energy do you have? If you say 10 to do
Let's
everything
ask
you
everyone,
want,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how much, who has an energy of 10?
I have the energy
In this room, I think a lot of people do.
Okay, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the quality of your life? It is joyful? Is it peaceful? Is it exciting? Is it wondrous? That's a 10.
Yeah.
If it sucks, that's 1. Now, there is lots of data that shows that if you intuitively answer those two questions, and you score 8, 9, or 10, the amount of energy and the quality of your life, you're thriving. If you score 5, 6, 7, you're struggling somewhere. You're not getting enough sleep, you have a dysfunctional relationship, you have unhealthy emotions, you're not getting exercise, you're stressed. Something. If you're less than 5, you're already in crisis mode. Either you've been diagnosed to have a chronic illness or you soon will have. So in our studies of chronic disease, what we find is low-grade anxiety, low-grade depression, and inflammation are the common factors for 95% of chronic disease. Only 5% of chronic disease, even the gene mutations that cause chronic disease are fully penetrant, which means they guarantee the disease. For that, we have new technologies now coming, like CRISPR, where you'd be cut and paste genes, but that'll only affect 5%. 95% is the quality of your life.
Okay, well, I think most people can agree that you seem playful, so I think we have a check there.
Yeah.
You've accomplished that. So when we think then about hard work, Paris, will you describe to us a little bit about your life? Tell us how hard do you work? Some people might not actually believe that you work that hard, but so tell us.
Well,
how
before
hard
she
you work.
answers, I was in the backstage. Her hard work is hard work, but it's also playful.
Yeah.
And that makes all the difference.
Okay.
Well, yes,
hard
I am
you-
playful. I feel like I'm a kid at heart for always, and I love living my life, but I also work very hard. I'm traveling on a plane over 250 days a year. I'm constantly in a different country almost every week of the year, and I'm running a huge empire, so every day is working for me. I don't stop 7 days a week. And, you know, it takes a lot out of my personal life because I am constantly, you know, traveling and having to do what I do, but it's a lot of responsibility. And I love what I do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel, being an Aquarius, I'm a very creative person, and I feel that everybody is put here on this earth for a reason, and I feel that I was put here to spread love, light, happiness, beauty, fun, and good energy. And that's why I only do things that make me happy and make other people happy. And I do love spending my life, and I care more about other people's happiness even than my own, because that's something that fulfills me, is just meeting people and seeing the smile on their face and just this unconditional love. And there's no feeling like it in the world. And with everything I do, there's so many things. And I love that I get to do everything from business to fashion to performing at music festivals with 500,000 people in the audience. This is obviously a little bit different of a setting, but I love it.
So how do you stay grounded, given all you've accomplished and what you do? Like, how do you stay grounded and connect with your fans?
I stay grounded. I feel lucky with my parents. My mom and dad have been together since my mom was 15 years old. So I really have that foundation of such amazing parents to look up to as my role models, and just always being so loving and supportive of me and always making me want to follow my dreams. And I think when you have a family like that, you can do anything in life. And I've always said that, and my parents have always told me, if you work hard and you're a good person, that anything is possible and all dreams can come true. And you know, when I was a little girl, I always did have these big dreams, but I never could imagine it would be on this level. So I just feel so proud, and just to be sitting here up at the Milken Institute on stage with you, Deepak Chopra, for Mike Milken, who is such a brilliant genius, and everybody, I'm just so honored and just so proud to be here. So I'm just happy
So
to
is
see
she a
you all.
meta-human? Is this what meta-reality looks like?
She's getting there. So since you talk about happiness, she has indeed the secret of happiness. Social scientists today talk about something called the happiness formula. So here it is. H is equal to S plus C plus V. H stands for happiness. S stands for your attitude to life. If you see life as a problem, you're going to be unhappy. If you see life as an opportunity for love or for relationship, you're going to be happy. That accounts for about 50% of your happiness experience every day. That's S plus C. C involves conditions of living, primarily how much money do you have. That is about 12% of your daily happiness experience. If you are extremely poor, you're going to be unhappy. If you're extremely rich and money is your identity, you're also going to be unhappy. But if you're rich and money is not your identity, and you can make a difference with your wealth in the world, you're going to be happy.
You told us 10% of our happiness
12,
comes from
10,
money,
12%.
right?
So if
Okay.
you win the lottery, you'll be very happy. You won $2 million or whatever, 20 million, 300 million. But in 6 months, you'll return to your set point. And in 5 years, you're probably unhappy because now you're worried about taxes, where to invest, the stock market, all those things that go with having a lot of money. So 12%. And then the remaining 40% is what we call voluntary choices on a daily basis. So we make two kinds of choices every day. One is for personal pleasure, alcohol, food, sex, shopping, etc. Do those make you happy? Yes, for about 24 hours or maybe 48 hours or maybe a week. But then you have to repeat the experience. And if you have an addictive personality, you'll get addicted. But the choices that make you really happy are choices that bring you fulfillment, meaning, purpose, and the ability to make other people happy. That's the key.
So Deepak, how do we get there? Can you give us like a few tangible ideas for this room that's, I mean, I've been stressed for the last few days. I know other people are stressed. Like, what do you do?
What is stress?
I
Okay, here's very simple. The formula is stop. Okay? Just remember this word, stop. S stands for stop. Put the pause button. You can do it right now. T, take 3 deep breaths and smile, please. O, observe what's happening here and what's happening here. P, proceed with compassion and awareness, and your life is transformed.
Okay, so I have to admit something. Paris has never meditated before. Did you know that?
She's intoxicated by the biology of her youth.
Okay.
But soon
I'm not quite sure what that means, but okay.
Yeah, when you're young, you're intoxicated with the energy of youth. But as she moves into the next phase of her life, she can maintain that youthful energy and combine it with the wisdom of experience and the wisdom that she has now with all her success.
Well, maybe the next phase is going to start now because we thought it would be a great idea for you to teach Paris how to meditate. So maybe you can lead the room and lead us in a brief meditation.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, please close your eyes. Sit comfortably. It's a very simple, reflective meditation. Bring your awareness to your heart. And we'll just start with a little bit of reflection. Mentally ask yourself, with your awareness in your heart, who am I?
Eyes closed.
Don't try to answer the question. Just be aware of any sensations, any images, any feelings, any thoughts that may or may not come. Now, ask the question, what do I want? Same thing. Be open to any message you get. What do I want? Third question, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And final question, what am I grateful for? And now just repeat your name to yourself. I am Paris Hilton. Then take the last name away. Just repeat your first name. I'm Paris, I'm Deepak, I'm Paul. Then take that name away. And what you're left with is, I am. I am is infinite possibilities. And now just repeat that a few times. Then let that go. And just rest in the stillness of your own being. Now please open your eyes and ask yourself just one question. Am I present right now? That's a good start.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Paris.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.